Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast with your host, Chris. I am that guy, Chris, as always, the host of Casting for Two podcast, and this is episode number 176. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening week to week. I'm so happy to see that number grow and grow. And also the episode count grow. It's pretty cool. I never thought I'd be in the 170s, and now I'm approaching 180, and then it'll be 200, and then who knows where it'll go after that. So thank you so much, every one of the listeners who listens. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'd love some comments and some feedback. You can do that at my Twitter and Instagram. Both are at casting42, or send me an email at castingfor2@gmail.com. I'd also like to say that if you enjoy this podcast, go over to secretstageproductions.com and check out all the other content they have, like my other podcast, Sunday Brunch, or Podcasting with Power, or the Secret Stage podcast, which I don't know if I should have said that, but I said it anyway. I guess I should get into my guest for today, because I have a wonderful guest for today. She was a delight to talk to, and just so so different, and in the best way. I have a model, actress, and criminology degree holder, I guess an investigator, Rachel Zader. And yes, she does have, she studied criminology in school and happened to become a model at the same time. And it was great chatting with her. And Rachel, you got to come back on anytime you want, all right? But I need to stop talking. Let's get into this episode. So sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, yeah. Hi. I was just checking to see if I was recording.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I got caught in a storm. It's been really awful here in Oakland. And when you're coming back from East Oakland, it's like, that's already crazy enough. It's like gang territory and everything. And so I was just sort of like caught in this, 4 accidents along the way. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No worries. Wow. It's all good. And plus, hasn't it been raining like crazy over there?
Yeah. The thing about living in the Bay Area too is that it's so unpredictable that if you're gonna go out wearing shorts, you still have to bring long sleeves and everything. It changes in 2 seconds. Yesterday I was sunny outside. I woke up this morning and I couldn't see my car out the window because it was storming so bad. So fun stuff. It's all good.
Yeah. No, I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah, so wearing pants, sandals, and a hoodie was just kind of, that's the style. That's Oregon style.
Cool. I lived there for a couple of years, and I was a toddler. But I still remember it storming in the backyard, and then being sunny in the front yard.
Right. And the weirdest thing is when it would be raining, but yet the sun was out, and it was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all good. So this is a pretty loose show. I thank you for your wonderful email, by the way. I wanted to compliment you on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I sort of got interested in podcasting because a friend of mine in Hollywood, was talking about sort of the work that he did, and I was like, this seems more intelligent than just YouTube, when you see kids online just screaming basically,
right,
playing video games. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna look into this a little bit. I feel like there's some really interesting people out there with some really interesting shows, and I mean, I know interesting is such a filler word. It's like the word alternative and, rock music. But no, I kind of found it intriguing that, you had this project of yours too, in Oregon of all places. It's like usually I see people in the film and this industry, and it's sort of where I think of like all this is coming out. And so it's kind of cool. Some people up there are still, involved in like entertainment and that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, we're everywhere pretty much, and that's. I wish there was a club, a local club that we can all just get together and hang out. But I guess that's podcasting. I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
But anyway, first I would love to chat with you about. So what came first, the model or the criminal investigator?
Well, I was in college and I got approached to start modeling when I was going to school for my degree in criminology, basically. And so I sort of started them both at the same time, but it was, yeah, I started doing things like really getting involved in like working in house arrest and GPS monitoring and all this stuff, like monitoring offenders and actually working with criminals like after I'd started modeling, but they kind of were in the same few years, I guess. I mean, I always kind of knew that I wanted to go into something where I wouldn't just be chained to a desk all day. And so
Right.
both of those sort of apply. So I kind of felt like I had to choose between one and the other, but sort of it just sort of all fell together in college, and I'll just do both. So
There you go. So does one of those things like conflict with each other?
oh, do they conflict? Yeah, but in ways that you wouldn't actually expect. I don't do modeling where I'm naked or anything like that.
Right.
In fact, kind of sort of realized that would probably come back to haunt me later, regardless of whatever career I went into, crime shit or not. So I had to stay away from that. So I assumed that would be something that would conflict normally, but like the ways working corrections has conflicted has mostly been social. Like so for instance, like at the last job I was at, I was actually let go because of, like overhiring. Like I just started a few months before. And then I learned later on, like one of the reasons they were more okay with it was because a lot of the, older, more senior women in the office didn't like me because they found out that I was a model. And so they perceived, my, quiet, I'm just normally quiet at work because I have my head done working.
Right.
They perceived that, shyness, I guess, as me being quote unquote stuck up. Or, if I was, walking, they said I walked too confidently. And I was like, doesn't that mean a management material? Like, come on.
Right.
That kind of comes up, and it's really unfortunate. And it's just, a reminder that it's like, this is still the state of things,
Right.
for, women in a lot of ways, especially young women. And it's just fucking ridiculous. But yeah, it's come up like that. A few people have found me. I use a different last name. I use my real last name in real life, but people have still figured out how to find me. And so some people have come in, right out of, whatever work or something like that for their probation meeting and sat down and been like, "Are you a model on the internet?" And I'm just like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been interesting for sure.
And I know you were talking about not being stuck behind a desk, but what about criminology had you interested?
Oh, so I know it sounds very cliche, but CSI was really popular about 10, 15 years ago, and I think I was like 10 at the time when my parents sort of loosened up about what I was watching on TV. I started watching and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, you can be, a cop and a detective and, a researcher. Like, this is really interesting. And something about crime always fascinated me. It might just be, because I'm goth and that's just all there is to it. But there's something like that. But no, things that usually turn people away, like, pharmaceuticals or death or, whatever it is, like, that's always really interesting to me because I really am interested in what what is real? And so it's surprising, I think, on that same note, when, I tell people often, oh, in a lot of cases, I'd really rather just rap out with people who are, quote unquote felons than a lot of, quote unquote other regular people. And that's why. It's because a lot of things that are sort of not taboo but are uncomfortable are interesting to me, and partly because it's like part of me wants to know why they're uncomfortable and figure out, well, if it makes me uncomfortable, like I want to know what it is that's causing that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always drawn to crime and that kind of thing for that reason. And it just kind of carried forward. Obviously, the job has nothing to do with what you see on TV, and
Right.
it's a lot of paper and that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, that was mostly what it was. And then it progressed like SVU and that kind of thing. And that was always interesting to me too.
Right on, right on. No, it's because my dad started off as a police officer, and then he transitioned to latent prints examiner. So I know
Nice.
I know a little bit, yeah, or not.
Yeah,
So
cool.
and it's he loves his job, so I'm always happy to find somebody who wants to get into that field, just because it's close to this family, my family.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um,
Well, it's this amalgamation of like all these different types of like all these different studies. So it's psychology and
yeah,
it's biology and it's so that I think is also really appealing.
yeah, no, definitely, definitely. And it's when I talk to my dad, he can lift fingerprints from anything, but he can't figure out how to work the printer. That's what always makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But so then you're going to school, criminology is going well, and then you said modeling kind of showed up while you were doing that. What was did you ever think to yourself, maybe I can just give up criminology and just be a model?
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing is I always knew first of all, wasn't going to look the way that I did at 17 forever. And, a lot of models I've talked, career models, agents have sort of, mentioned that to me. They're like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. And I'm like, 26 or 27, and I stop getting as many jobs, or I start whatever, like where I want to settle down and do something else. That's totally, waitress syndrome is a huge, quote unquote waitress syndrome it's definitely a thing.
Right.
Actresses and actors deal with it as well, but less so, I think. And so I kind of knew to brace for that, but also I really was passionate about finishing my studies and that sort of thing. That was really important to me, and it is, and it's that is my passion. A lot of people are like, oh, is modeling your passion? And they're surprised when I'm like, no, it's not. It's fun and it can be, a really great creative outlet, but ultimately, like, I go nuts when I'm not using my brain. Not that modeling isn't physically and mentally demanding, but like it's frustrating for me when I'm not, reading and, problem solving and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I guess that's where the two different careers come in.
Right. Yeah, it's like you have your more creative career, and then you have your I don't know what to call modeling, standing career. I don't know, looking good career. I don't know how to phrase it. But yeah, no, definitely, it's nice to have that
Well,
kind of yin and yang.
yeah, and it's also really kind of like surreal because when you're doing your own marketing, it's like your brand is you, and so
Mm-hmm.
it's for me. I grew up with a mom who was really worried about because I looked the way I do basically from age 10. I mean, I was like ridiculously tall, like I looked much older than I was. She was really concerned that I would become preoccupied with my looks because I realized I was getting attention because I looked older.
Mm.
And so I grew up kind of like not ashamed of what I looked like, but like really kind of like worried about it, and also sort of just, sort of almost too self-aware, I think, now that I'm older. And so it's still weird to sort of, almost like post in this expectation that people are going to find me attractive. I'm like, who am I to do that? Like why is that my judgment? And why should I, press that upon people? And it's like, relax, Rachel. Like that's such a, like stop doing that to yourself. You're so strange. Like, it might just be brain problems or something, but it's definitely weird, for sure.
Uh-huh. Okay. And so, do you have any kind of bad modeling stories?
I was actually doing an interview where I was asked, do you have any advice for, future models? And I
Yeah.
kind of, that made me think of this actually first experience I had, or one of the first experiences where it was literally like, people always joke about the unmarked van. So this guy, I basically answered a casting that he posted, and just to do something like glamour portfolio shots or something like that. I didn't really know quite what that was. I was like, oh, glamour that sounds great. That sounds, great. We'll do some really pretty photos.
Yeah.
Unmarked van shows up, dark sunglasses. It's overcast out, first of all. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like just, overweight dude with like some like golf course shirt. Like, I think he worked at a golf course that I sort of collected. It had some logo on it or something like that. So I was like, okay, this guy's not a career photographer. What's going on? Yeah, big dude, like sweaty, pulls out this point and shoot camera, and he's just like, yeah, so here's my camera, and it's literally like one of those ones you buy at Walmart.
Yeah.
That's a DSLR, like, not professional. He pulls it, and he's like, all right, let's get some test shots. And I'm just like, I have this weird feeling about this. But I was like, maybe that's just nerves or something. I'm like, okay. And we go, find a place to shoot or something. And, I have my boyfriend at the time in tow, and he's sort of off to the side, doing something on his phone, and I'm not paying attention. And the guy goes, so I really like to get a great facial expression. I like to really like remind my, models of like an experience they've had or a memory they have, because that kind of helps. He's like, and he goes, so like, for instance, have you ever had sex on the beach?
Mm.
I was 17, by the way. Like, not that
Yeah.
that's appropriate at all to say ever to anyone. And I was just floored. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, we're done. First of all, and second of all, like, that sounds like a great way to get sand in your lady parts. So like, no. To answer your question, bye. So, and that freaked me out, and I was really glad that I had someone else there, because who knows what could have happened. But I mean, maybe it's just clueless, but it was just, oh god, it was so creepy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that happens every once in a while. Usually photographers are fine, like they're respectful, and I usually make a joke about feminism or something just to kind of gauge their reaction, because I can usually tell who's going to be a problem if they react the wrong way. But that one experience was definitely the kicker. That was probably the best one by far. I mean, unmarked van, like, pedo, like, beard and everything. It was pretty incredible.
Right. Yeah. Sketch from the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I look back now and I'm like, oh my God, like, what was I even thinking? Like, I should have like looked at him and just like gone back inside and closed the door.
Right.
God.
For the people at home who want to keep up with everything that you do online, where can they do that?
I am most active on Instagram. My Instagram handle is my name, Rachel, Rachel, and then model, just Model. That's my handle. And my name, Rachel Zader, is another way you can find me online. That's just my homepage, rachelzader.com. And I post occasionally that. There's my portfolio, what else I'm up to, that sort of thing.
There you go. Right on. And so, Rachel, I had a blast chatting with you, and I feel like there's a lot more to talk about. So whenever you want to come back on, just say the word, all right?
Oh, cool. Fantastic. Yeah, definitely. Love to talk to you again.
But you have a wonderful rest of the day, and yeah.
Cool. Yeah, you too. Bye. See you later.
Bye-bye.